Evening, you lovely lot, and welcome to another episode of Mostly Arsenal. There's a few bits I want to discuss tonight. Mostly today's friendly against Millwall. Um, Probably not too much on transfers. I tend not to or try not to get too carried away until I see them actually in the shirt or with a pen in their hand, putting their signature with Mikel Arteta's hand on their shoulder. I will skirt a little bit on how some of the new signings played today. I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about online abuse, which is still sadly very, very prevalent, and that needs to be dealt with. And I'm going to finish it off with a little story about something that happened to me the other day, which was not exactly my finest moment. Before we get into it, though, please don't forget, if you like what you see, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't ever need to miss a trick in the future. Okay, without further ado, let's crack on. I said I wasn't going to talk about transfers. I would like to say briefly that I'm actually really happy with the business that we've done so far. It's always going to be a slightly odd transfer window, what with the Euros and everything. Even though a lot of the players that we're looking at weren't involved, some of them were. It's always going to be a distraction for agents, clubs, and such like. So it was always going to be a little bit stagnant at the front end of the window. Looking at the players we brought in so far, yeah, really really happy, and hopefully there's more to come. But I'll crack on and I'll talk about today's game, the things that I noticed from a positive point of view, the players that really stuck out for me. I bear in mind, I mean, no disrespect to Millwall, they're a decent Championship side, and they did put out a full strength starting 11. You know, they're not Inter Milan in Florida, they're not Man City away. We got sterner tests coming up, particularly in the next two games. But they're a decent side, like I said, and I thought today's friendly, it was a good performance by the lads. They seemed the press was really good. I was well impressed with the press and the intensity, and that's something I've always been banging on that I want to see from them, like consistently, and that was vastly improved today. Um, there was a fluidity about the team with players changing. I know the commentators were talking a lot about hybrid players and hybrid positions, and there was a fair bit of interchanging. It was very very fluid, and we were moving the ball quick. We were working hard for each other, which I'd expect anyway, and I was pretty impressed. The ones that stuck out for me mostly, I suppose. Um, I thought Thomas Partey had a really good game. He was he glided through the game. He was like avoiding tackles. He was bringing the ball forward with ease and with pace. He was breaking things up as well. I thought he did really really well. Kieran Tierney basically looks like he's just carried on where he left off last season. The guy's just outstanding. Um, I was very impressed with Sambi Latonga when he came on. He looks really comfortable on the ball, strong in the tackle. He plays the simple passes very, very well. Indeed, for our second goal, I think he played give and goes two or three times, playing it simple into the edge box, getting the ball back, moving it, and he was moving Millwall around, and that in turn created the space for Chambers to have the space on the right hand side to get the ball in for the goal. So I was very impressed with him. Tavares looks quick as hell. I didn't really get to see much of him, but his pace is frightening, and he's a big lad as well. I don't know whether there's plans to keep him as a backup left back, or he could potentially be utilised as a central defender, I suppose. He did really really well. It was nice to see following Balogun get on the score sheet with a tidy little finish. It was a decent ball by William, to be fair. Clearly not my favourite player, but that was a tidy through ball, and it was a very accomplished finish from the young fella. So that was really good. The one that stuck out for me, obviously, is my guy Emile Smith Rowe. He I've never made any secret of my love for this bloke. Seriously, I think he's the absolute bee's knees, and he is the one. I actually voted for him for Player of the Year last year, even though I only really came into the team just after Christmas. But I think he made a huge difference to us, and the way he played today. I've said before, I see him as a box to box player, and I honestly think his ceiling is so high he could become that generational box to box player, provided the manager is prepared to utilise him in that way. But he kind of had everything today. He had a slow start, um, but then when he got into his rhythm, he he was everywhere. He was getting on the end of balls in their box. He was breaking play up at the edge of ours. He was breaking play up in more or less the midfield third, but then he was breaking through their lines really quick, and he looks quicker. He looks a little bit leaner. I don't know whether it's the shape and the cut of the new kit or whether he has leaned up a bit, but he seems to have his energy levels were magnificent today, and I was really really impressed with him. The only thing that was missing was a goal. He did scuff one with his lefty in the second half when he cut inside. But you know, it's early days. You know, they're all getting miles in their legs at the moment. But yeah, very very impressed with him today. And excuse me, while we're on the subject, I can't let the moment pass without talking about his contract extension and the shirt number. I always had a feeling that the club were waiting to look at other signings before they would release whether they were giving him the number 10. It it may be nothing, or it may mean that maybe we're not getting Maddison, or oh, I don't think we'll get Locatelli anyway. But it could mean that maybe Maddison isn't coming, um, or it could be that they've shown faith in Emile Smith Rowe and they're like, well, regardless of whoever comes in, we're going to give you number 10. I was thinking they would probably give him the 8, because obviously traditionally number 10 is the main playmaker. But that's not to say that you can wear number 10 but not play the number 10 role. Like I said, I see him as I think box to box is his best role, but he can indeed play anywhere across the middle of the park, literally anywhere, left, right, um, in the 10, in the 8. I could even see him playing as a holding midfielder as well. He's that good and he's got that much to his game, which is one of the reasons why I like the idea of him being a box to box. But it depends whether our formation will allow that. But I mean, just looking at the impact he had last season, I've said about this before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself and you've already heard me say this, but I think he was the catalyst on Boxing Day against Chelsea when we were, I think, 15th or something, and no one gave us a chance. We were expected to get, just turned over by Chelsea, and we bossed them, and he bossed them, and he brought something to our play from midfield that we hadn't seen all season. It was somebody who was prepared to pick the ball up and carry it at pace and put the opposition on the back foot instead of giving them the opportunity to regroup and get behind because we were so fucking slow bringing the ball forwards. And he brought that something different. And I honestly think that was the biggest difference in our season. And I just love this kid so much. He reminds me of just a kid playing football in the playground who loves playing football, and he seems humble. He's down to earth, and from the things that he's been saying this week, that he wants to be a legend. He wants to be a one club player. That's what I want to hear from someone like this. I can't say enough good about him, to be honest. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I'm so happy that he was always going to sign the contract. I mean, this stuff from Aston Villa, that was just laughable, really. But they did give me the ump, and I found it quite disrespectful that they were just offering such derisory sums for somebody with such a high ceiling. But he's our boy. He's my guy, and he's here to stay. So the rest of you, jog on because you ain't got a chance. He's ours forever. Um, so moving on from that, I want to talk a little bit about online abuse. I've not done a video for a couple of weeks. I think the last one I did was before the Euro final, and that left a mark on me. Not just the game itself and losing on penalties, but it's just everything that happened afterwards. And anyone that's listened to or watched any of my videos before or read any of my tweets, you know how I feel about online abuse. But the problem is, I'm still seeing it every day, and it's not going away. And things need to be done to protect people who are being abused for absolutely no reason. And the the changes that need to be made lie entirely at the feet of the platform operators. The only way I see that you can do it is verification. All accounts need to be verified, because at the moment there's no accountability for people's behaviour on social media, none whatsoever. And again, I've said this before, but anyone can set up an account with just a ridiculous name that means nothing, a picture of their favourite footballer. There's no accountability. There's no way of knowing who that person is. And it's all well and good for the platform operators to say, okay, we will block this person, we will delete that tweet, we will ban their account, because 5 minutes later they got a new account. And this isn't what they're doing isn't enough, because when somebody is being abused online, it doesn't matter what they do to the person who's abusing them. The damage to that individual has already been done. And unless they're incredibly strong people emotionally, that it doesn't bother them when people say fucking horrible things about them that have nothing to do with anything other than just being a horrible, spiteful bully. Unless they have that mental strength, which a lot of people, very few people have the mental and emotional strength to deal with being abused in such a way. The best case scenario is the person who's been abused, their day is going to be fucking ruined. The worst case scenario, which is the one thing we don't want to think about, is essentially if somebody's in such a bad place and then they get abused in such a way, they could take their own life. That's how fucking serious it is. Especially if it's concentrated and it's repetitive, which I've seen to certain people that I know, and they've been repeatedly targeted for abuse off people, and sometimes off the same person, and it's taken like 3 or 4 reports and complaints for their tweets to be deleted or for them to be blocked or banned. And it seriously can't go on. I don't know if people have taken their own lives over being abused on social media. They probably have. But I'm fairly certain if this carries on, it will happen. And I don't want anybody in that situation who's being abused to go through that much fucking pain that someone's put them through. And it's absolutely, it's disgusting. I find it absolutely abhorrent, and it needs to stop. And there are things, lots of people, lots of good people are trying to set things up and make changes and help to enforce change. But it takes the platform operators and every single one of us to actually make a stand and try to enforce the changes that need to be made. I don't really know what else to say on that, and I'll keep banging on about this. And if people don't like hearing it, that's absolutely fine. But this is so important, and I personally haven't been abused online, not to a massive scale. I've had a few people have a few digs. If I've jumped in and felt the need to protect somebody who I've seen being abused, and I'll carry on doing that. I know it's not for everyone, and I probably shouldn't give these people airtime, but sometimes it's just I can't just sit there and not say something. That's just how I'm made. But yeah, stuff needs to change massively. And moving on from that, on a slightly lighter note, I would like to tell you something that happened to me yesterday while I was at work. For those of you that don't know, I'm a photographer, mostly commercial architecture, and a lot of what I do in my job is I'll arrange appointments to go and photograph vacant commercial spaces, like office blocks and new factory builds and things like that. And I'll photograph and do 3D tours, aerial drone footage, that sort of stuff. And normally these places are empty because somebody's trying to sell them or trying to let them out. Now I've got to give them details for for this new job to go and do in a couple of weeks, and I phoned the contact. I was speaking to him. Lovely bloke, really like super posh. We're like polar opposites of like the cultural spectrum, I suppose. I'm very much working class, and you can tell by my voice, I'm not the best spoken person in the world. He was. He was ridiculously posh. Really nice bloke though. So we were chatting, and he was telling me that this particular place that I've got to go and do the advertising media for, it's got tenants in it. So I was like, well, what am I going there for? He's like, oh, because we own it and we want to, have some footage and some media for if there's a time when we need to market it. I was like, oh, that's fair enough. I was like, so who are the tenants? And he said, I can't tell you. Right. I was like, that's what do they do then? He said they're very secretive about what they do. So they'll need to cover everything up and move stuff out before you go there. And I was sat there thinking, why have we been sent to this place? And we had a chat, and I said, look, I'll leave you to liaise with them. I'm off on holiday in a week's time anyway, so I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks when I get back. And we, done the niceties, and we said goodbye to each other. And as I've got off the phone, my exact words were, "What the actual fuck? Fucking Jesus! How the fuck am I going to do this job?" And then I heard this little noise come from my phone. It's him. He's still on the phone. I haven't hung up properly. He's going, "Hello, hello, Keith. Are you still there? Hello." And I shit myself, and I've gone like this. I've looked at my phone like that. I've gone, no, 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 no. And I thought, what do I do? Do I apologise now, or do I just hang up? So obviously I just fucking hung up. But the worst thing is, he now knows that I'm aware that he's heard me swearing after our professional business conversation, and I'm now the most unprofessional person on the planet. And I've got to speak to him again next Wednesday. So that's going to be probably awkward. But anyway, that's I'm just a dick mostly, and I do very, very ridiculously stupid things a lot of the time. That's about it from me. If you like the video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell if you want to see some more videos of me basically talking shit about Arsenal and about random stuff that's happened to me in my life. Most of those stories are genuinely embarrassing to me, but I don't mind sharing them because if it gives people a laugh, then I'm all right with that. Anyway, whatever you're doing, wherever you may be, have a nice day or evening, and I'll catch up with you next time. Cheers for watching. Bye.